So for those that don't know what we offer on the support side, so standard support, which is provided with pretty much every commercial license that is sold, included in the license and renewals. We offer guaranteed response time within 2 business days. It provides support on the APIs, functions, how to do things. So if someone has a question on how to solve a particular problem, how to achieve something using Qt, then they can come to us and we will help them out and get them on the right path, provide an example where possible to show how things can be used. If they have problems with something not working correctly in their application, be it because there's an issue on the application side, or in a case where it might be a bug in Qt, then we will also investigate that and try to solve that as well. In terms of when there's a problem in Qt, then we will also investigate for a workaround or bug fix where possible for anything that comes up, so that the customer is not blocked from having to wait for this to be fixed properly in the next version of Qt or something like that. And also, for those with standard support, any bugs that are reported in our public bug tracker, they will give increased priority for those. So that means that our R&D team are going to prioritize those first when they're looking at which bugs to fix before looking at the other ones. So the customers will always get a priority from our point of view in getting bugs and feature requests implemented. We also offer premium support, which is basically all of the things that I've just mentioned in the previous slide with standard support, with the addition that we get a guaranteed response in 1 business day. This is typically same day sort of support, as we would have someone that will be a dedicated support engineer that is placed pretty much in the same time zone as the customer, so that way there's a very good chance you'll get a response within the same day, usually within a few hours, depending on when in the day it is. You're getting the highest possible priority for any reported bugs in the bug tracker, which means that anything that comes in there will be looked at generally first before other things, in order to make sure that our premium support customers are getting their issues fixed as fast as possible. We also offer full application code analysis and debugging. So if a customer with premium support has a problem with their application, it can't be brought down to a small example or something like that, then we offer the means to have a look at the whole thing and try to find what the problem is based on that, rather than having to wait for a small example or work out how to reproduce it in a small example. And that naturally leads into being able to provide remote desktop assistance and troubleshooting as well. So it's not always possible to send the whole application code to us, or some customers prefer that we connect to them. So this way, as part of premium support, and it's possible to get that sort of direct access, and we can, the dedicated contact can also discuss things with them directly as well, and solve the problem there and then, rather than going back and forth over email. And lastly, the other thing that we offer in support is extended lifetime, which will become more apparent as I go on. This is basically support for a version that has reached end of life, which is similar to the 5.9 one, which I'll be talking about. And this basically sits on top of the existing support level. So if you have standard support or premium support, it will give you the same level that you were getting from the same team or from a dedicated contact as before. And it will be basically the same level of support for that particular version of Qt. And of course, if anyone is interested in hearing more about that after the presentation, then feel free to just contact us via the address there, or using the contact form on the website. So to move on to give an overview of the current versions that Qt is supporting. So right now, we have 4 that are currently supported, 2 LTS supported releases, 5.9 and 5.12. 5.9 will be only supported until the end of this month. Reason being is it's been 3 years since the release of 5.9.0. 5.12 will be supported until the end of next year. And the two long-term supported releases, 5.13 and 5.14, will be supported until the end of June and December, respectively. So the difference there is, for those that are unaware of the releasing strategy that we have, is that for the normal releases, i.e. the ones that are not long-term supported, which is typically the ones between every 3 versions, so 5.10, 5.11, 5.13 and 5.14 were all normal releases. They are supported for 1 year after the day of the release of the .0 version. And then for the long-term supported releases, they are supported for 3 years after the day of the 0.0 release. Qt 5.15, you see, is not listed here yet. That will be out hopefully next week, and that will also be a long-term supported release. So that means it will be supported until May 2023, at least 3 years to the day of when it is released. So Qt 5.9 is why will support be stopped for this. So 5.9.0 was the first 5.9 release, which was a long-term supported release. This was released on the 31st of May 2017, and therefore 3 years from that point. It means that it's going to be reaching end of life at the end of this month. It is since, well, I should say, will be superseded by 2 LTS versions, 5.12, which of course has been out for 1.5 years already, and 5.15, which will be out hopefully next week. So therefore, there are 2 long-term supported releases, which obviously have a lot of focus on stability, making sure more bugs are backported in, whereas the normal releases are focused on just having new features and then moving on to the next one a short period afterwards. So a bit of historical context, 5.9 was our second LTS release as part of the Qt 5 series. It has had 9 releases in total. So we did 5.9.9 a few months back, compared to 5.6, which only had 4 releases, sorry, in total. We went to 5.6.3. So you can see that with 5.9, we've evolved our LTS releasing strategy. So we'll have more releases with our LTS version. Qt 5.12 has had 8 releases already, and there's more planned to come. There'll be at least another one later this year, and there's likely to be another one after that. And Qt 5.15 is going to be released, which will be next week, and there will of course be plenty of patch releases to come on top of that. So for those that are looking for stability, then there are 2 long-term supported releases coming and also out that you can rely on. Sorry about that. So the options moving forward, basically you have 2 main options available to you, either as a commercial customer or even as an open source user as well, depending on what you want to do. So option 1 is basically you can move to Qt 5.15 long-term supported release. You can also decide to move to 5.12, but the reason I state 5.15 here is because of the fact it will be supported for 3 more years, because it will be released next week. And therefore you have a good amount of time where you can stay stable. You can just upgrade to the newest patch releases for 5.15 without having to worry about it for a long time to come after that. Whereas with 5.12, you'll be back in this position again after 1.5 years, and you need to look at deciding what you want to do next. So 5.15 is source and binary compatible with 5.9. So that means that you can just update your version of Qt from 5.9, or even if you are using a later one, to 5.15. And then you might have to compile your application depending on the platform you're on, But if you're lucky and on Windows and you're using the same compiler, then you can just run it without having to rebuild it at all because of the compatibility. So it's very easy to switch from 5.9 to 5.15 in that respect. You also added benefits of using 5.15 is that you have a lot of new features that are introduced over 5.9. Some of these have come in the releases in between. But some of them are also new in 5.15. So we have a new number of new modules, like Qt Network Authorization, Qt Speech, Qt WebGL Streaming Plugin, Qt Lottie, Qt Quick Timeline, Qt 3D, and Qt PDF. So I won't go into details of those. Those are available as part of documentation, and some of the presentations during the virtual con will also touch upon a couple of those modules as well. There's a new platform which was introduced a few versions back, which is Qt for WebAssembly. So that's also available to you. That was not available in 5.9. For the security conscious, those that are using network connections for SSL connections, there's support for OpenSSL 1.1. 5.9 supported the free 1.00 and 1.0, but you may be aware that OpenSSL 1.0 also reached end of life at the end of last year, which means that it's recommended now to move to OpenSSL 1.1, which means moving to 5.12 or 5.15 is a good choice here. For those on the desktop, and especially for the Mac OS and Windows platform, there's much improved high DPI support. So moving to 5.15 will give you good changes there. Everything will look much better on a Retina display, or if you're using a scale factor of at least 2 or higher. And of course, with any release, we have a lot more fixes in terms of stability. A lot of bugs have been fixed, and we also have improved the performance between 5.9 and 5.15. So there's a lot of good reasons to move to 5.15, even if you're working on an existing piece of software, because you can at least get bug fixes and things like that, and you might even find that it's running faster than it was before as well. So that obviously is one option, and the other option is that you can just decide to stick with 5.9. If your license allows you, then of course you can continue to use 5.9 without support. You don't have to upgrade to 5.12 or 5.15 if you don't want to. You can continue to use 5.9 as before. This of course is useful if you're maintaining a piece of software and you're not planning on new features or anything like that, and you just need to make sure that it just keeps on working. It's just to be aware, of course, that there's not going to be any more releases to the 5.9 series. So if you are using that, then and you do need something fixed or something like that, then obviously if you're using an open source version, then you'll have to look at trying to fix that yourself, or you have to look at upgrading from down. If you are a commercial customer, however, you can then decide if you do need to continue to make sure that bugs are fixed for you in that respect. Then you can get extended lifetime support if you need it. This will basically enable you to get, as I said before, the same level of support that you have already. So if you have standard support license, you'll get standard support for 5.9, which means it will try to provide fixes. If something's already been fixed, then we will backport that fix for you where possible. So it gives you options if you need to make sure that certain things are still working. So you at least have options available to you. And of course, if you have general support questions with 5.9, then we can also help you with that as well. So there will be no change for you in that case. If you're with extended lifetime, then you're able to continue to get support for some of the platforms that were supported in 5.9, which are no longer supported in the later versions of Qt. The primary ones that have been dropped since 5.9 is the Mac OS 10.10, iOS 8 and 9, and some of the older Qt for device creation platforms too. So if you notice that you're using an old platform and it's no longer supported in the later version of Qt, then this is, of course, is an option available to you as well, as we can continue to support you on that platform, even though it's not supported in a later version of Qt. So ultimately, by having extended lifetime, or if you decide to stick with the version you have, you'll be able to continue to use that version of Qt with the same level of confidence as other versions. With the extended lifetime, then if you find a bug, then it'll be investigated for you, and then we'll provide a fix or a workaround where possible. And you'll get the same level of support as you've come to expect from the support team. So if you have premium support, you have a dedicated contact, they will still be your dedicated contact, and therefore they will be able to help you with this version of Qt, as well as any of the versions of Qt that are still supported that's available. So you have a good confidence in being able to carry on as you're doing, expect things to work for you and get help when it's needed. So that is at least the slides I had to present. Before I go and have a look at the Q&A to see what questions you have had, I just want to thank you for listening. I hope you found it informative. There's a link there to the survey, and it also helps to rejoin the portal if you need to look for the next session that you're joining. And again, there's the contact form and the download page if you're interested in contacting us if you have any questions about the services that we provide on the support side. Then by all means, feel free to contact us and we will get back to you with more information on that.
Thanks, thanks, Andy. Do you want to check the Q&A box for, looks like
yeah,
one question so far. We have a little bit of time.
Okay, I see the question. The question is, will updating to 5.15 affect PyQt 5? Just to clarify, in this particular case, obviously, because PyQt 5 and is a version of Qt that's ported for Python that is actually produced by a third party. So I can't answer in specific to PyQt 5. But what I can do is refer to Qt for Python, aka PySide 2, in case that's relevant, which upgrading to 5.15 will not be a problem in that respect, because Qt for PySide takes care of the version being used for you. So you would not have any problems in that respect. But if you are using PyQt 5, then I suggest you contact, I think it's Riverbank, I might be wrong, who produced that, and they will be able to answer your question there, because they are the ones producing it and not us. So I can't really comment on how they have their bindings working. So, but hopefully, if it's working in the way I would expect, then because it's binary compatible, then there should not be any problem. But I would check with them first to make sure. Okay, next question is, can I continue using 5.9 after the end of life? Yes, you can. There's no problem with using 5.9 after the end of life. If you're an open source user, then nothing changes. You can continue to use it under this license that you've accepted on that. If you're a commercial user, then there should be no problems with using it as well. You just need to check that your conditions of, if you have a subscription-based license, for instance, then you might have to renew that, but then that's something that you would already be aware of. But there's nothing technically stopping you from using 5.9 after the end of life date. So you can continue to use it. If you're a commercial customer, you don't have to get extended lifetime support if you do not require it, but you were unable to be able to ask for support using that version if it's necessary. it does not stop you from getting support for later versions that are supported. So you still have that option if you require it as well. Okay, I have another question. Are the older versions of Qt available under the extended lifetime as well? Yes, all the versions, particularly in the Qt 5 series, so that's anything all the way up to 5.8 currently, 5.10, 5.11, they're all available for support under the extended lifetime. So if someone out there is using an old version of Qt, then and they want to get support for that, then we can help with that as well. So if you're using a version that's even older than that, then it is possibilities to get support via our professional services. In that case, just contact us via the contact form, and someone will get in touch to discuss the details with you in that respect. Okay, I don't see any more questions, so give it a minute in case anyone has any questions at all. Feel free to ask me anything. I've been in support for 20 years, so I can answer anything while we have a bit of time left, if you have any questions. Okay, then I think that's all the questions.
Great. So thank you for your time. We appreciate any feedback you provide us in the survey that you'll see when you log off here, and look forward to seeing you on another session. Thanks so much for your time this morning. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, and have a good day.